Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Wednesday the 22nd of November.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda.
President Mugabe resigns.
A recap of the just concluded tour de Rwanda. Good morning, you're watching Rise and Shine with me, Erin Kanengwa.
And me, Fidelis Kaungwa. Over the next half an hour, we'll bring you what's trending in news, business, as well as lifestyle. But first, let's take a look into our news features. The government is committed to working with private sector and other development partners to put industrial development at the forefront to increase the annual contribution of the industry sector to the economy to 14% from the current 2%. The commitment was announced by Vincent Munyeshaka, the Minister of Trade and Industry, as the country joined the rest of the continent to celebrate the Africa Industrialization Day at the Kigali Special Economic Zone. The minister said that while industrial development is a top priority in the country's development agenda, its contribution to national economy is still low at only 2% currently. He added that the government aims at achieving the contribution of industrial sector to the country's GDP of 20% by 2020 from 17.1% in 2016-2017. Officials also called on Rwandans to consume locally made products, adding that this would promote industry, create jobs, as well as help close trade imbalance. The day was celebrated under the theme Africa Industrial Development, a precondition for effective and sustainable continental free trade area.
In regional news, there were mixed reactions in various parts of Kenya on Monday after the Supreme Court upheld the declaration of President Uhuru Kenyatta as the winner of the October 26th repeat election. A man was shot dead in the western Migori town and 2 vehicles set ablaze in Kisumu as residents protested the Supreme Court ruling. Ruling Jubilee supporters took to the streets to celebrate the judgment as life went on as usual in some areas with no protests or celebrations being witnessed. In Kisumu, the demonstrators burned parts of Kondele police station and engaged police in running battles for the better part of the day as they vented out their anger.
And in international news, a Nigeria suicide bombing has killed at least 50 people in Adamawa state. A bomber struck inside a mosque packed with worshippers during morning prayers in the town of Mubi, where a witness named Abubakar Sule said the bomber was part of the congregation. No one has said they are behind the bombing, but the Islamic militants Boko Haram typically targets crowded places in northern Nigeria. Over 20,000 people have been killed in Boko Haram's 8-year insurgency. At least 45 people were killed in a suicide bomb attack in the same state last December, in an attack where 2 female suicide bombers detonated their explosives in a busy market.
Now in Zimbabwe, President Robert Mugabe has resigned. A letter from Mr. Mugabe said that the decision was voluntary and that he made it to allow a smooth transfer of power. The surprise announcement halted an impeachment hearing that had begun against him. Lawmakers roared in jubilation and people have begun celebrating in the streets. Mr. Mugabe had previously refused to resign despite last week's military takeover and days of protests. Let's take a look.
Ben, I was just saying, not unexpected, but a cause of huge jubilation already in the streets.
Yeah, not unexpected, but the pressure has been building relentlessly for Robert Mugabe to resign for so long. I can just hear, I think, the news just filtering down to the crowds. I've just been down there actually, opposite the Parliament. Huge crowds have been there all day in Unity Square. They are cheering now as the news comes through to them on their mobile phones. He'd been under this really almost incredible pressure, not only from the military who launched this takeover last Wednesday, not only from his own party, ZANU-PF, who had, remember, over the weekend sacked him as their leader. They completely turned against the man they were once slavishly loyal to. One ZANU-PF member said that Mugabe was an animal who needed to be got rid of. So there was pressure from the military, there was pressure from the party, and there was also pressure from the people of Zimbabwe. On Saturday, we saw something we haven't seen before really in Zimbabwe. Tens of thousands of people free to march through the streets of Harare and to demand the resignation of Robert Mugabe, because the army allowed them to do that. In the past, they would have been beaten and they would have been arrested if they'd done that, even criticised Mr. Mugabe. Listen to that noise. There are car horns blaring. There are people running through the park down there. I'm not sure if my cameraman could just zoom in down to the park. Let's have a look at what's going on, because you can hear car horns blaring now, and people in the centre of Harare absolutely delirious. This is the moment that they have been waiting for. They can't quite believe it has happened. Impeachment proceedings had just begun only a few hours earlier, and a constitutional attempt to depose Robert Mugabe as president. And that could have taken days. Some members of parliament were saying that impeachment process could have actually taken weeks or maybe even months. And some people were beginning to worry that maybe Robert Mugabe would never leave power. He is 93 years of age, the oldest head of state on the planet. It's extraordinary how long he has clung to power, really, as a ruthless dictator, somebody who has presided over a government of brutal political repression and economic chaos. Inflation at one stage in this country under his rule reached, in 2008, 79 billion%. It is a story of extraordinary political repression and economic mismanagement. It is finally over. Nobody knows quite what is going to replace it, to be absolutely honest. The favoured candidate of the military is Ernest Mnangagwa, who has been a henchman of Robert Mugabe and not a great champion of freedom or democracy or human rights. He's the one that the army wants to replace Mr. Mugabe. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. For the moment, though, just scenes of uncontrolled joy in Harare. And I have to say, as somebody who's been coming here for the best part of 20 years, it is an emotional moment. I covered some of the brutal attacks 17 years ago on white farms in Zimbabwe, where farmers were driven out of their properties and sometimes murdered. Just one of the instances of brutality under the Mugabe regime. It is over, and no one knows quite what will replace it, but everything has changed in Zimbabwe. I don't think anyone can doubt that now. The genie is out of the bottle. Democracy, well, this may not be a country of democracy yet, but the people have tasted people power. They've come out onto the streets in their tens of thousands. They are still, as I speak, literally running through Unity Square down there. You can't see too much of it because there's so many trees there, but the Parliament is just beyond those trees, and that's where they've been gathered. That statement of resignation, that letter of resignation, read out by the Speaker of the Parliament, just down there behind those trees where those red roofs are. And the Speaker read out the letter, and the news only just now, a few minutes later, filtering out to the people of Harare and the people of Zimbabwe. It is an incredible moment, and it is a moment of history in post-colonial Africa. This country that has suffered so grievously for so many years. 90% unemployment at the moment is just one statistic I can give you to show how miserable life is at the moment in Zimbabwe. Millions of Zimbabweans have gone over the border to South Africa to try to find work, to try to find some sort of employment. That is why there are scenes now of delirium. Everyone is tooting their horns if they're in a car, and if they're a pedestrian, they're just running through the streets now towards the Parliament, which has been the focal point of this constitutional attempt to get rid of Mugabe. In the end, it wasn't needed, that impeachment process, although it may have been the final trigger that persuaded Robert Mugabe to go, because he's been under pressure from the generals, he's been under pressure from pretty much everybody else. And you can see there pictures of people waving, dancing in the streets. Joyful scenes, euphoric scenes. Utter euphoria, utter jubilation. And I think for these young Zimbabweans, many of whom have only ever known life under Robert Mugabe, he's ruled this country with a rod of iron for 37 years. People who have criticized him have been arrested, they've been beaten, they've been tortured, and they've been murdered. And now Zimbabwe is free of Robert Mugabe. Extraordinary scenes.
So, Fidelis, from this news after Mr. Mugabe peacefully handing over, okay, not really handing over, but resigning. How do you feel as an African?
I feel that we are definitely entering into a new era, and I feel like that's what everyone feels right now. Because previously, whenever, and we've seen it before, whenever these leaders are in power and don't want to leave, there's always so much chaos that comes along with it, especially when the people themselves are pushing for that leader to leave. I think the fact that he voluntarily decided to resign shows that there is hope, not only for Zimbabwe, but for most African countries that are facing the same issue. I know I was reading on Twitter and people keep on saying Uganda should take,
pick a leaf.
Yeah, get an example from that. So many different countries are very happy about this, and we have to understand this as Africans. Even if this was just happening in Zimbabwe, it affects all of us really, because we are one people. We are all aiming for the same thing. Honestly, I don't think there's any development that's going to happen where Rwanda is developing and doing really well and Zimbabwe is not, and we won't be affected. In one way or another, we always, it's like a yin-yang situation, we always affect each other. So this is really good news, not only for Zimbabwe, but for Africa at large.
And again, as you said, like it has been causing chaos, because when you look at, for the past 15 years, Zimbabwe has been going through chaos, and especially during elections, because this Mr. Mugabe has been winning since 1980. So, and the past 15 years, it has been terrible. Chaos, violence, things, so much things happening.
I think the most important thing to remember, especially with this particular resignation, is that we as the African media have to point out that this time round, no lives were lost, no major violent situations were reported. This was actually done in a good manner, and nobody was hurt in the process. So that is something to celebrate, and this is really what we should always focus on. It doesn't matter what issue you have with the current government. Always make sure that no innocent lives are being lost in the process. I'm saying this because just as we've spoken about this before, but in Kenya, our neighboring country is going through the same thing. We've had cases in Kisumu where people are being beaten, mistreated.
And does not leave anyone out. It also involves the ruling side.
Exactly.
Because police has to involve in, and they're also like part of the violence,
So I think the most important thing is all of us should learn that no matter what we are fighting for, there's always a better way to do it that doesn't involve other people losing their lives. Now I know President Mugabe had been on house arrest for a while since this whole crisis started. It is reported that his wife has run from the country, is no longer there, who initially intended to take over as a leader after her husband. The question would be why, and it's not just in Zimbabwe, because we've seen it with other leaders as well, who feel that even if I do happen to come from give up this power, I want to give it to my family member, to my son, to my nephew. And it's not a kingdom. They have to understand this is not inherited. Yeah, the people have to make a choice. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we should understand how, because there's a constitution, and we should really live to it, because we have rules that guide us. So if you came into power, you alone, why do you think it should come to your son? I mean,
Very true.
Yeah, so I think we should also take note on that and just work accordingly to what our roles, our laws really tell us. Yeah.
No, I think the other thing we need to do as the common people is we need to understand our rights and exercise them to the maximum. No leader should impose rules on us that initially were not there, because again, it is our lives on the line. And
Exactly.
I was reading on somebody else, again on somebody else's Twitter handle, and they were saying it's unfortunate that whenever situations like these arise, it is the poor people, it is the unemployed people, it is the people who, honestly speaking, have no major contribution that they made in the beginning to this whole crisis, who suffer. They're the ones who get killed, they're the ones who are tortured. The people who started this whole chaos to begin with, the people on top, are enjoying their lives. They say we should go and rebel, we should go and do this. Meanwhile, after saying that, he will go back to the comfort of his home, and the rest of us, the common people, are the ones on the streets shouting and fighting with the police. We need to also understand that, a leader, I believe a leader leads by example. You can't tell me to go on the streets and shout and make noise, yet you yourself, you're going exactly on your behalf, yet you yourself. So I think also logic plays a really important role in this. We just need to be very careful on how we carry out most of these processes.
Yeah, like we should not wait to go out of power with fights.
Exactly. There's
no
need,
because
really.
you came in peacefully. So why do you wait for people to drag you? They should also think about that.
Yes. But this is definitely a very hopeful situation for not just Zimbabwe, but like I said, but for all of Africa. People are very excited. Everybody's very happy. And like I said, we really hope this catches on in all the other African countries that are going through the same thing. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Last week was an action-packed week in Rwanda, especially for lovers of cycling, as huge crowds gathered everywhere on the streets of many parts of Rwanda to witness firsthand the Tour de Rwanda events, as well as cheer for their favorite teams. The crowd's favorites include Alleluia Joseph, who emerged as the overall winner of the 2017 Tour de Rwanda, keeping the title right here in the land of 1,000 hills. Take a look.
Wari umunsi iratanze isezerano ko abantu baza kuri stade Amahoro baza bagoroye umuhogo biteguye kuririmba Rwanda nziza. Aha hari ku munsi w'ejo nyuma y'agace kayonza Kigali, aho yari yaje ku mwanya wa kabiri.
Icyo nakiziza n'abanyarwanda nuko nzi yuko tuzara turirimba Rwanda nziza.
Mu gitondo cya none saa 3 n'igice nibwo urugamba rwasubukuwe. Iyo wari umaze iminsi ashimisha abanyarwanda, sikoro bakazinywera kuzimara, bakagana koje banki ku bwinshi bifunguriza konti ya Iteza Imbere kugira ngo batangire biteza imbere, banategurira abana babo kuzagira hazaza heza nkawe. Yagomba gutsinda nta hinyu ko abanyarwanda bakaririmba Rwanda nziza. hari ku ntera ya kilometero 120 ingana no kuva i Kigali uhagurukiye ku Kacyiru ugana i Huye. Iyi ntera y'izi kilometero bayikoraga bazenguruka atandukanye kuri stade Amahoro, bagaca Kimironko na Kibagabaga, bahagira bakazamuka bakata umuhanda ugana ku cyicaro cya Kigali Today, bagakomeza bagana ku Gishushu munsi ya RDB, bakagaruka kuri stade banyuze munsi ya Airtel. Aha bagomba kwazenguruka inshuro zigera ku 10 bigabana na kilometero 120. Bageze muri kilometero 8 ibintu byaje guhinduka. Valence Ndayisenga yatangiye kubataka, aza no kugira muri kilometero 1 yamaze kubanikira, yegukanye agace ka Kigali akakara agace ka 5 kandi muri rusange mu buzima bwe muri Tour du Rwanda yose. Byatumye agera ku muhigo wakozwe ku munsi w'ejo na Eyob Metkel wo kugira ku duce 5 muri Tour du Rwanda. Uwe na Eyob niwe amaze kwegukana uduce twinshi muri Tour du Rwanda, byatumye basiga DBC Mexeb umaze kwegukana uduce 4 muri Tour du Rwanda. Valence Ndayisenga ati nka champion y'u Rwanda mu mwaka ushize ntabwo nari kugenda ntigaragaje ko mpari.
Yandanezerewe cyane ku buryo utabasha kumva, so byari iby'ingenzi nka champion y'umwaka washize. Byari byiza kugira ngo abanyarwanda babone ko nanjye nakinye Tour du Rwanda, kuko bajyaga bavuga teroro, urabona metero 500 ziri ahantu hazamuka, so nari navuze ni ngomba kwerekana ko ndondi n'umuzamutsi.
Ibyishimo by'abanyarwanda ntabwo byaje bicagase. Aleluya Joseph nawe yesi yambikwa ikamba rya Tour du Rwanda. Aleluya warabaye umunyarwanda wa gatatu wegukanye Tour du Rwanda, akimara gukorwa mu kiganza na Minisitiri wa Siporo n'Umuco mu Rwanda Madame Uwacu Julienne. Yavuze yuko inzozi nk'izi yazirotaga.
Nishimye cyane kuko ni inzozi nahoze nifite zo ko numva nzakora Tour du Rwanda, none nkaba nshimira Imana ko yaranda ibyo nifuje kuba mbigezeho. Urumva muri aka kanya ndishimye kuba ndi umukinnyi nka Aleluya Joseph utwaye Tour du Rwanda.
Mu ikositimu y'ubururu n'inkweto z'ikigina, Isegahemba Jean Marie Vianney yari yanze kubarirwa iby'inkuru, aza kubyirebera imbona nkubone umuhungu yanikira abandi muri Tour du Rwanda. Uyu waza kino umukino w'amagare yabyishimiye cyane, avuga yuko ari ku muhungu we uru rwego atari rwamushakaho.
Ubundi nge numva ntagira inzozi z'uko nakumwumva muri Tour de France, atari kuvuga ngo turamushaka hano mu Rwanda gusa, tukambuka imipaka tukagera no hanze y'igihugu nibura. Rwose ndabimushimira no mu myaka ye mikeya, ariko ndashaka ko nibura atera intambwe turamushaka muri Tour de France, ntabwo nshaka ko duhera hano hasi.
Muri Tour du Rwanda yashojwe yegukanwe n'umunyarwanda Joseph Aleluya, akurikirwa na mugenzi we bakinana Eyob Metkel, naho umunyakenya Kangangi Suleimani aza ku mwanya wa gatatu. Ku mwanya wa kane haje Bosco Nsengimana, abana umunyarwanda witwaye neza mu bakina mu gihugu cy'u Rwanda, anabererwa igihembo cya moto yahembwe n'uruganda ruturanyiriza moto mu Rwanda arirwo RMC. Van Engelen ukomoka mu gihugu cy'Ubuholandi yahembwe nk'uwahatanye kurusha abandi, naho Nathanael Mebratome ukomoka mu gihugu cya Eritrea ahembwa nk'uwahize abandi mu kuzamuka imisozi. Igihembo cyatanzwe na Cogebanque ngo nta bukwe buri inzoga n'imisango. Skol yakomeje gufasha abanyarwanda kwishimira intsinzi, ngo gushimira n'iby'imfura. Yanashimiye ababanye nayo muri Tour du Rwanda. Benirwa Kayihura Emilienne ashinzwe gutegura ibikorwa muri Skol.
Ikirere cyabaye cyiza, u Rwanda rwatsinze, turishimye cyane. Amagare uyu munsi urimo nawo turaba dutanze amagare 8, abatsindiye indege kugendera muri kajugujugu ni 7, noneho telefone ubwo n'abantu 21 uyu munsi nawe urimo. Ari mu bucuruzi no mu kwamamaza ibikorwa byacu dukoresheje ibintu bitandukanye nka bya bisiklete mwagiye mubona bibumbye binini by'ibijeya, umuntu yacagaho atwaye icyo kimodoka abantu bose ko Skol. Ariko no mu bucuruzi twaracurujije ku buryo rwose ntago byari igihombo kuza muri Tour du Rwanda.
Cogebanque nayo isanzwe izwiho gutera intambwe ubudasobanya, ishyigikira imikino n'imyidagaduro mu Rwanda no gufasha abanyarwanda kwizigamira. Yashimiye ababanye nayo mu cyumweru cyose. Tour du Rwanda yogogwa ibibaya n'imirambi by'Urwa Gasabo, inahinguranya impinga n'imisozi yarwo. Yakomeje gukangurira abanyarwanda gufunguza konti yayiteza imbere. Iboneraho no kuvuga yuko nta gihe ntarengwa kuri iyi konti bazakomeza kuyifungura bakizigamira. Montfort Mujyambere ashinzwe ubucuruzi muri banki ya Cogebanque
bazakomeza kuyifungura kuko abagenti bacu bari mu Rwanda, ubu dufite abagenti barenze 400 mu Rwanda hose, ni benshi, ariko ndavuga abari cyitwa active agent. Abo bose rero bari mu bice bitandukanye by'u Rwanda. Icyo nashishikariza abantu bafunga amakonte n'abasanzwe muri konti teza imbere, begere banke basaba amakade Mastercard atarazisabye, abasaba inguzanyo zisabe, mbese babone serivisi za banki.
Nari maze iminsi mvuga ko useka niza ruzaseka nyuma, byarangiye mumenye ni Aleluya Joseph watwaye Tour du Rwanda y'uno mwaka abamufanaga n'abagize umuryango we mukomeze muryoherwe n'intsinzi ya Tour du Rwanda.
All right, now, Irene, I know you were actively involved in the Tour du Rwanda this year. What was the one word you can use to describe this year's event?
Oh my God, I think it was perfect.
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 Timing
was perfect. Okay, apart from the rain that could distract a few things, but otherwise it was really nice. By 6:36, everything was set up.
Yes.
Yeah, for the people who had come on promotions, like let's say the partners, sponsoring sides of, everything was on point. Yeah.
Now, I know this was, so it has been held for the 9th time here in Rwanda, and every single time the Tour de Rwanda is held here in Rwanda, there's only good feedback coming from it, mostly because, like I said, for me, I think this is a perfect event for our tourism sector. It brings in a lot of people. You'll be surprised how many cyclist lovers are there out here, but so it brings in a lot of people. Hotels are normally booked and overbooked for Tour de Rwanda, and I also love that it gives us an extra activity that we can do. I know I personally, especially over the weekend, would walk, not even over the weekend, even during weekdays. I used to say, do these people have jobs? People would be on the streets shouting and screaming and waiting for hours for these cyclists to come. And it's that kind of passion that for me I think is another inspiration as to the reason why they keep on having it here in Rwanda. It's because it has become a tradition. It has become something that everybody looks forward to all year round. And the other thing is the employment opportunities offered during events like these are also very many.
God, so many. Yeah.
Exactly, from small Wirakas, the bouncers, to people whose full-time job is planning this event all year round. So
even the one day jobs were offered, of
exactly,
course, because with Scholar, I think there were people coming in just for that day to blow what they call
the
tap-taps, those things. So you could see a bunch of people, at least like 20 people, just being hired just for that one day, which is also nice.
Okay, so now let's talk about the core, the center of the whole Tour de Rwanda, the one person that everybody was talking about, Joseph Hallelujah, who actually won the Tour de Rwanda this year. I didn't even know this person until I walked the streets and everybody was screaming
and you
his
know
name.
Why? Because this person stepped on every stage. Imagine, who does that?
Who does that?
You
Makes you wonder, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, he stepped on every stage. Of course, everyone had to know about Hallelujah. Hallelujah had become Hallelujah.
Yes. Yes.
So I think he's a hard worker. He loves what he does, and to every person out there, maybe the young generation also who have a dream of doing this kind of sport, I think it is more hard work that leads someone to their dreams.
I think also the fact that his own father used to be a cyclist also really hugely contributed to how he had to perform, because there's always that thing when your parent has done something before you feel like you have to do it better because you have to set a new standard, and it was really beautiful to see. He was very emotional, and I had in his speech he said for him this is a proud moment, but this is not where it ends. He definitely wants to see his son winning Tour de France, major other cycling competitions, not just here in Rwanda, and that is very inspiring to see a parent who's really supportive of their kid like that. Again, Joseph was not the only Rwandan to be amongst the winners of the Tour de Rwanda. We have one of the best riders, right? Best rider was also a Rwandan. best climber. So we have, so Areruya Joseph was general, winner. And then best Rwandan again was Areruya Joseph. So he took those both those titles. And then we have also Ndaisenga Valence, who I know even I participated in Tour de Rwanda previously, and he always used to come amongst the top 3, the top 5. So he has maintained a standard, which is really beautiful to see again. And then we have other countries that also took major positions, like Eritrea, Cameroon, which also did a good job. So what's, if as one of the people who participated in the Tour de Rwanda, what would you say you look forward to in the next year's events?
Of course, I will talk about more numbers. It was really a big number, but again, we need to participate more and more and more, not to kill this whole thing, because a lot of time and a lot of money is put in to see our young talents come up.
Okay, and like I said, for you, you say timing was perfect. So the organization was top notch. You have no issues with that.
Even to when the rain came, people stayed supporting and active, which is nice.
Perfect. So we look forward to more successful Tour de Rwanda events being held here in Rwanda, and of course attracting more people. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Now, don't forget, we'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us your ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reposts that we do. Find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We love to see your pictures. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website.
Well, that's all that we have time for today. We love to hear your feedback, and do let us know if you have an idea for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Irene Kaningwa.
And me, Fidelis Karang. We'll be back here same time, same place next week, so do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine Rwanda team, have a very good day. Goodbye.